But never forget that, people. If it bleeds, it leads. That's how the news works.
Yep.
And they'll never, ever, in all of your life, never will there be a time when they come on and they tell you that everything's going fine, because that doesn't sell. Doesn't sell. Fear is the biggest motivator of people, and that's how they corral audiences.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 9 of the Andrew Deitsch podcast. I am so excited with how much this thing is already growing. Yesterday, the podcast was downloaded 762 times. That is absolutely insane. I honestly can't even believe how much traction this thing is getting, but thank you for downloading and listening. I have so many special guests coming this week. It's going to blow your mind. But I digress. My guest today is my friend Graham Thomas. His real name will be hidden to protect the integrity of his statements. And I actually really respect the fact that he uses a radio name because he feels that it allows him to be the most transparent and honest version of himself. But Graham is actually a fellow podcaster. He's the host of the Logical Insanity podcast. And Graham is actually one of the biggest reasons why I even decided to start my own podcast, because he asked me to be a guest on his podcast about a couple months ago, I guess. And after jamming with him for a couple hours, I knew that this was something I had to do for myself. So I bought some recording equipment shortly after that, and I just started going to town, recording some podcasts. Here we are. But Graham recently graduated from college, and he's going to be moving to Chicago with his girlfriend in the next few days. So I'm really glad we got to record this podcast before he headed out, and I hope that I can visit him up there soon. But on this episode, Graham and I talk about the complexities of organizing a music festival. We talk about why he started podcasting, his story of why when he made the mistake of quitting his job before getting a new one, how he started listening to podcasts, and the concept of hyper reality. Ooh. And just to fill you in, at the beginning of the recording, I accidentally said Graham's real name. So I just chopped that part off to avoid any identity crises. Crises, yeah. But I really enjoyed this one, so give it up for my friend Graham Thomas. All right, Graham, what's up, man?
Not much, dude. Not much. Sorry to start off with a
with an awkward
identity
thing.
scare. Yeah.
No, you're good, dude. No, so actually, I was gonna that was one interesting thing that I was thinking about when I was starting my podcast was, you know, because on yours you don't share the last names, you know.
Yes.
So just to introduce yourself, this is Graham.
Hey guys.
He has a podcast as well.
Yes, this is Graham Thomas of the Logical Insanity podcast, soon to be rebranded.
There we go.
Available on SoundCloud.
Yes, look him up, follow him. And so we were just kind of getting into, right before we started recording, about my setup here and what I've got going on. Mm-hmm. But I was going to ask you, so when you started your podcast, you kind of wanted it to be under this alias of Graham Thomas, and, you know,
Yeah.
you don't want people to know it's you.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha. What was your main reasoning for that?
Because I think it allows me to be more truthful.
I like that.
And vulnerable too.
Yeah.
I don't know, like something about having the world know my first and last name, my real first and last name. I feel like I could never truly go for it in a way that's like
if you're going to run for president, you don't want or, you know, just anything.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Which, by the way, this is the first you'll hear it, but I'm announcing 2060, sorry.
2060.
2060. I'm guessing that's an even year. I'm going to run for president.
Wow.
I really fucked up when I said 16, but...
we got the scoop live here, folks.
Yeah, you heard it here
Graham
first.
Thomas running for prez.
But for real, though, I felt... I felt like I could just say crazier shit, do crazier shit, push the envelope more, and at the same time do something that was more true and honest to that point in my life, which that's another part about why I'm, starting over.
I like it.
I'm gonna start a show with my girlfriend Shannon Sphinx, and it's gonna be called About Earlier, and
nice.
It's gonna be us doing interviews of people in Chicago, sort of like a audio version of Humans of New York.
Nice. That's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
I love that. So for people listening, so you're moving to Chicago with your girlfriend in
I am.
a couple weeks. And when did you get your girlfriend on board with that concept? Did you come up with it?
We came up with it together. This is something that she's a huge part of my life,
Yeah.
So it only felt right that like with this let's be real, like I like to talk about myself and shit, right? Like,
yeah.
I think just the fact that I have a podcast is a testament to the fact that like, not
Same
necessarily
here.
yeah. But anyways, so with so much of the show being about me and my life, to not have her in some way, shape, or form in it, it's inevitable that she's gonna be in it, We're living in like a 700 square foot apartment.
Yeah, it'd be impossible to record podcasts in there without her being involved.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's cool. I love that concept. That's so cool. So kind of like when you meet someone new and cool, you'll invite them on the podcast.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I actually kind of had a similar situation, and just even deciding to have a podcast is like such a cool outlet, because you can be like, hey, want to be on my podcast? And people are kind of like honored by that, because they're like, wait, what? Like, you want to be on my, what? Like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, dude, I don't know. You're cool. Like, let's just talk.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, I don't get it. But once you get into it and like you start talking with people and they are vibing, it's just like having a normal, awesome conversation.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I like about your setup instead of my setup. My setup is handheld mics, and this is a clip-on, and it just feels so much more natural just to sit a normal posture. I'm going to have to get one of these. This is awesome.
Yeah, I did some, research around, and my friend Calvin, that we went to his house and recorded originally in his little studio, and he was telling me that this little portable recorder was good because the onboard mics are really good quality. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking about this, it's called the Tascam DR40. It's a little, I would say the size of
a sub sandwich.
Yeah, like a little sub sandwich, and it's got two onboard mics on the top. But my thing was, like I was telling you before we started recording, is I felt like if we had the microphone in between us, number one, it would probably be picking up a lot of other sounds too, and I felt like I would probably need to be kind of yelling into it. And I think that having the little lavalier mics next to your, like, clipped onto your shirt,
right? Yeah,
it's just a lot more. It's right near you, and you can kind of, if you need to edit out some stuff, you could, because the voice is like the main thing in it.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, and my main goal was to make it as portable as possible, and it can run on battery power. You don't have to have this little thing plugged into it. Yeah. But I just have a little power cord into a battery bank, so that
that's cool.
I don't have to. I could plug it into a wall if I wanted to, because it's just like a USB. I could just plug it into like a little power brick thing.
Okay.
For the wall.
Huh.
But it can run on battery, and apparently it can go for a while. So if you're in the field as a reporter or something, you could just be wireless and record.
Yep, that's exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Like whenever you see on the news, like they've got those portable recorders. It's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But this one's cool because it has the two outputs on the bottom, so you can plug in mics.
And you even have the little Russian hat microphone cover. Man, this is such a visual podcast all of a sudden.
I know, right? Yeah, we're talking about like actual physical objects.
This part's gonna be the worst part, probably. But
it's okay.
Whatever.
But no, it's kind of cool because actually I've been kind of going ham. I've recorded 8 episodes so far.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I just got like really excited and just like, let's go for it.
That's the way to do it.
And so I actually haven't really talked about my podcasting equipment at all yet.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool because you have a podcast and you get it.
Right. No, this is a sweet setup, man. This is portable. It's easy, and mine is not easy. Mine's a box of shit. It is far
It's
from
not
easy.
portable.
It's far from easy. So yeah, this is definitely a lot chiller.
Yeah.
No doubt, man.
But it was kind of funny to go back to what we were talking about, just kind of interviewing people. Yeah, you're good.
Right.
Yeah, you're good. To, meeting people and inviting them on the podcast. It was cool. I went to a music festival in Atlanta a couple weekends ago.
Which one?
Shaky Beats.
Okay.
So there's a few actually right in a row. There was like 420 Fest, Shaky Beats, and Shaky Knees, like all in a row at the same stages, same park, Centennial Olympic Park. And so it was cool because this company can kind of capitalize on the fact that they only have to set up once. They set up all the stages once and then back-to-back weekends.
Okay,
Maybe with a weekend break in between, maybe. I think it might have been. Because one was 420 Fest and then the next one I think was 2 weeks later. But I think they just left the stages up and it was the same company that did all the marketing and all the,
Damn.
Yeah, it's kind of genius.
So who do you call? Where do you start? If you're like, I'm going to plan a music festival.
Yeah.
Think about that shit, man. I guess you start with artists. You got to have that first.
Yeah. Well, to continue that thought.
Sorry.
Let's go back to that because I love music festivals. I could talk about them a lot. But to go back to that, I met this guy named Tyler at the music festival, and he was so cool. Like we instantly clicked, and then like a week later, I had him on the podcast. Like I'd only known him for 1 week.
Right.
But it was cool because he was like, "Wait, you want me to be on your podcast? I'm not that cool." And I'm like, "Dude, yeah, you're cool. I really like you."
Yeah.
And his brother is actually a really successful artist, and he's like, "Dude, you should get my brother on the podcast." I'm like, "I want to get both of you guys on the podcast. Like,
there you go.
I want to get your brother on too, but like, let's just get you on first. Like, let's do it."
That's awesome.
But anyways, to go back to the music festival thing, that is a great question. How do you start a music festival? There's
so
big
many
process.
So many moving parts.
Did you hear about that Fire Festival? Did you hear about that?
I did, but explain it to me.
Yeah. So basically, Ja Rule, and like I'm not even that familiar with Ja Rule. I just know he's like a hip hop artist. Is that what he is? A rapper?
What I know him from is a terrible movie with Steven Seagal. He's where they're both in prison. It's just a terrible Steven Seagal movie from like 2002. But I just remember Ja Rule being in that. And there's something with a helicopter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever. I digress.
It was just really bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he was this investor in this music festival, and it was him and some other like young entrepreneur, millionaire. I don't know how he got his money, but he's like some Silicon Valley guy or something. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he was basically we're just like, we can do anything. We can make a music festival. That's where the money's at. So basically, like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So your cup's right behind you.
Oh, thanks.
No worries. And so, like Coachella, it's kind of marketed as being like a luxury experience. And so they were like, we're going to make the ultimate luxury music festival. It's going to be on a private island. It was apparently owned by Pablo Escobar or something like that at one time. And, is that the right name? Pablo Escobar?
Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I'm like, is that a baseball player or something?
Probably.
It's like, it sounds like I'm messing up the name.
They can be both. I'm
Yeah,
sure there's a Pablo
Pablo
Escobar
Escobar
in the MLB and a real.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, I mean, it's common enough, right? There's plenty of Escobars.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember.
It's like John Smith's, there's probably a couple.
Yeah, exactly, of course. So, anyways, their plan was to host this music festival on this basically deserted island. It was supposedly beautiful, and they were selling all these crazy VIP packages that were like $4,000. You're gonna be in this VIP, sleeping area, and you're gonna get access to 24/7 alcohol and food. And Blink 182 was headlining, and like a bunch of people were headlining that were pretty big names. And kind of make long story short, they didn't think through all the logistics and couldn't pull the trigger on all this stuff. They didn't think about the fact of, we're on a deserted island. How the hell are we going to have water for all these people?
Yeah.
So they had to develop some complex system of getting water, and that was like half their budget or something crazy.
Oh my
and then the
God.
other half, essentially, like I'm exaggerating, but was spent on marketing.
Yeah.
And so they had people like Kendall Jenner posting on her Instagram like, Fire Festival, I'll be there. It's going to be so glamorous and awesome. And there was all these stock footage, videos and pictures of what it was going to be like with no actual footage or pictures of what actually happened. Long story short, people get there. There are the tents that they're providing people that are supposed to be these luxury cabanas and stuff are the same tents that they use for refugee camps. They're like those white domes.
Yeah.
It had rained and had a massive storm the day before the festival. So everything was soaked inside of all of the tents. All the mattresses were completely soaked. They were like foam mattresses. They're completely soaked. Like when you sat on it, it was like a sponge. And like it basically turned into Lord of the Flies. Like people got there and they were just like, hey, stay in this area. We have free drinks for you guys. We're still setting up the campsite. Hey guys, keep drinking. We're still setting up that campsite. Okay, the alcohol's gone. I guess we can take you to your campsite, but it's not really finished and you're going to have to fight over mattresses and they're all soaked.
Oh.
And apparently it was just the biggest shit show in the world.
Oh my God.
And like people, it was it was irresponsible. They should have called it off days before. They should have said no one come.
It's good no one died.
Yeah. Seriously, like people definitely could have died.
Yeah.
And this island, like there's people that live on the island, like even though whatever quote unquote deserted island, there are some people that live on the island.
The deserters.
Yeah. And they were like, we're so sorry. Like this is not representative of what we wanted to offer you guys. We had no part in the production of this.
Oh my God.
We thought it was cool that there was going to be a music festival on our island.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the right people were in charge with the right amount of money. But it just goes to show that if you have all the money that you need to throw at it, you've got to have the right people in place to execute it.
That's so ridiculous. The first thing I would do is, okay, we want to start a music festival. Let's find a guy who's done it before and hire him.
Yeah.
Maybe a guy who's done it 3 or 4 times. Like that's his thing that he does. Like let's find out whoever that guy is and pay him to and then we don't have to do shit else. We just have to find one guy. Hey, one guy, I trust you to staff this shit,
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It was definitely a huge shit show. And, like, I can only imagine, and people were texting their friends that hadn't left yet. Like, so it was, like, on a Friday, and people were, like, getting off work. Oh, yeah, we're going to the airport. Or they were, like, flying to Miami and then fly into the island from Miami.
Oh, my God.
And they were texting their friends in Miami, like, don't come, don't come, don't come.
Oh,
like,
my God.
It's called off. Like, don't come. But there was already people there and stuff. And so no music happened.
Oh my God.
All the artists bailed. Everyone was just trying to get the fuck out of there after it started.
So it was in the Caribbean somewhere?
Somewhere, yeah. Don't exactly know. But the like you said, it's like hire someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Like why are you trying to figure it out?
And even
As
if
Ja Rule.
Yeah, dude, like come on. Like, there's this festival called Holy Ship.
Yeah.
It's on a cruise ship. And they, stop on these islands where they've set up a stage and stuff, but people aren't camping on that island. They go back on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
So it's, like, same kind of concept, but you've got a cruise ship that's self-sustained and already has employees and already, is proven that can, sustain life on the open seas.
Yeah, you've got, a
can't
home
just
base.
Yeah. You can't just expect to fly in a bunch of people and have nothing for them. Like, there was pictures of what the food was. It was supposed to be, this gourmet options, a buffet all you can eat. There's people that got these, foam, takeout containers.
Yeah. And
the picture of it had... Have you ever seen that episode of... Did you ever watch SpongeBob?
Yeah, yeah.
You know when they made the salad and he tells them to take... He's like, take a Krabby Patty. Take off the bun. Take off the pickles. Take off the bun. Take off the burger.
Yeah.
And it's just a piece of lettuce and a tomato.
Yeah.
That's what the salad looked like. It was a piece of lettuce with a tomato sitting on top of it.
Oh my...
And then there was a hot dog or something.
What?
And that was their rations.
They fucked up, man.
They really did.
They really fucked up.
And the best part is the guy this billionaire rich guy, young dude, he's just such a douche. He's like, this is the worst day of my life. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Then they recorded this conference call of him talking to the employees. Basically said, we're going to fix this, blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, we can't make payroll right now. So if you want to stay on board and help us fix this, we'll appreciate that, but just know that there's no payroll. And they're like, wait, so you're not technically firing us so that we can't file for unemployment, but you're admitting to us that you won't pay us.
Oh my God.
Isn't that just firing us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
You can volunteer, is what he's saying, basically.
We're going to take your paid position and turn it into a volunteer position.
Yeah.
If you want to stay on. It's your choice. It's up to you.
Yeah, but it's also the sort of thing where it's like, by the way, you're stranded here with us. So, yeah, this just became an episode of Lost. So you're kind of conscripted into helping for free.
Exactly. Who's a doctor? Anyone?
Yeah. Yeah, we're really going to need to probably move these heavy fucking bales of water around so that everyone can live. So let's get together, folks. Let's team up.
I read this article that was talking about one of the workers at the festival that said he quit like a month before, and he was in charge of managing all the artists.
Okay.
And the deal is you have to give the artists an advance before they're just going to show up.
Okay.
So you've got to pay them a certain amount, and then you pay them the rest when they complete their job.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes total sense. And so weeks go by. Hey, we're just finalizing your flights in. You know, when are you what's the time? What time are you guys flying in? Blah, blah, blah. Well, you haven't paid us the advance yet, so we haven't made any final plans. You know, once you pay us the advance, we'll figure out our logistics. All right, cool. Hey, guys, Blink-182 said they don't have any flights yet because we haven't given the advance. When can we pay them? Oh, well, you know, we're really strapped right now. Tell them we'll pay them. You know, and it just went like that for months and months and months, and this guy's like, this is never going to happen. All these artists are just going to drop. And so it was totally irresponsible. Like, it should have been blatantly obvious to any sane person that this was going to be an absolute failure. Like, what did they think they were going to do, pull it out of their ass in the last 24 hours?
Something tells me there was a lot of cocaine involved in their decision-making process.
Definitely. Had to be.
Oh, my God. What a bunch of idiots, dude.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're like, really if you want your money back, sign your name on this piece of computer paper that's just like blank.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
No, I know for a fact. I saw pictures of people like, for real?
I'm literally just signing my name on a blank sheet of paper. What is this? This is not a document.
And also, it's like, the people you screwed over are people who are into like the hype of like Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff, like Snapchat. You're basically fucking with the people who
will destroy you.
Yes, exactly.
In front of the world.
Like, I'm never going to hear about Firefest because I don't have Snapchat, I don't have Instagram, I don't have Twitter. I'm not about that stuff. But these people are like the selfie people. Like the selfie music festival people.
Dude, that is a weird culture. People that go to like concerts and stuff and just film themselves dancing to the show and stuff.
It's bizarre.
It's very bizarre.
It's what Ari does. Like on Facebook.
Yep.
It's totally what he does.
Yep. Definitely. And the funny thing is like, we were just talking about how like it's, you know, it's kind of self-conceited to have a podcast, but that's like another level.
Dude, the people who do that for real, not necessarily talking about him specifically, but just people like that in general who are like, hey YouTubers, so I'm here and I just went to Target. I'm gonna unbox what I got here for you guys. Or the people who are like in their car. It's always in their car. You ever notice that?
Cars are like the ultimate vlogging spot because it's quiet. You have your own contained quiet spot.
Yeah. And
no one's gonna judge you and like, shut up, Mom. I'm trying to record.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to my car. I'm gonna go to my car and record. Okay. Yeah. But on one hand, you gotta kind of give them props for trying to create something. But on the other hand, it's like, what you're creating is lame as fuck.
I don't have to give them props for trying to create something. I can give them a bottle of scotch and a fucking handgun.
Yes, you can do that as well. Like, there was this kid, I'll call him out right now. His name is Bryce Witchy.
Oh, we're calling out names. First and last. All right, what's Bryce Witchy do?
He's probably going to listen to this podcast.
Hey, Bryce Witchy, fuck you. No, whatever. Keep going.
But Bryce Witchy, he had this YouTube channel, and it was popular because it was so bad.
Oh no.
And it was like on Reddit, like in the cringe subreddits and stuff. But like he didn't get it, I don't think. Like he thought people actually enjoyed the videos.
That's painful.
Yeah, and so he like found me on YouTube because I made a video saying like why I dropped out of college, and he's like, "Yo, my parents don't understand. I'm trying to become a full-time YouTuber," and I like look at his videos. I'm like, "Bro, are you making any money right now?" He's like, "I have AdSense. Like I'm making like $5 per video or something." I'm like, "Dude, that's not enough to like justify dropping out of college. Like you've got to like kind of figure something out." Yeah. Like I get it if you don't want to go to college. Like I didn't, I dropped out myself. Who am I to say you shouldn't?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Bryce, you've got to be somewhat realistic and figure out. Like you've got to understand why your parents are pissed.
Yeah,
you gotta understand
that's
because
true.
They look at it. They just think it's some dumb YouTube thing. Yeah, because your videos suck and they know it. Like it's not like they're funny. People are just commenting like faggot like on your video like 100 times. Like he made a video like saying like I'm gonna beatbox, and he was like,
what's his username? I want to look him up.
I think his username on YouTube is Saucy Saturday.
Saucy Saturday? Okay.
I think that's what it was. The sad thing is I remember this guy because he would message me a lot.
Yeah.
He would message me on Facebook. Dude, my mom, blah, blah, blah. Yo, I'm trying to scrounge up $200. My mom's took my iPhone because I won't stop making YouTube videos, but I'm trying to save up to buy an iPod Touch. Like stuff like that.
Oh my
But
god.
dude, he sent me a video. He sent me a link. Okay, do you know what Patreon is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Ryan uses it.
Yeah.
So he had set up a Patreon, and he asked me to donate to his Patreon. He's like, this is how tons of YouTubers make a living off of this, bro. I've got to get started somewhere. How much can you donate? $5 a month? $10 a month? It's not that big of a deal. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I have $5 a month that I could donate.
Yeah.
But I am receiving zero value from you.
Yeah.
So why would I want to donate $10 to you every month so you can keep making shitty videos and validate your decision to continue? Which on one hand, I kind of have, like I said, some part of me has to kind of admire his perseverance because obviously he's getting tons of hate.
Yeah.
But the other hand, it's like you got to kind of take the advice and kind of just realize maybe YouTube's not your thing. Maybe you got to figure something else out.
Dude, he's like Patreon is like asking for enablers for him.
Exactly.
It's like, hey man, please enable my bad habit. It's only $5 a month of your money.
Yeah, and like I get it if you love making videos, whatever, but like don't try to make me pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not watching them anyways.
Yeah, dude.
He just thought that like, oh, now that I'm a creator, like people will pay me. It's like, it's not how it works, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's just not how it works. But anyways, Bryce, if you're listening to this, figure something out, bro.
Yeah. If you're listening to this,
he messaged me one time. He was like, my mom took all my stuff, but I still have my Xbox and I can record videos on my Kinect or like something like that. Like he had the little Xbox Kinect camera.
Dude, so this guy's like
delusional.
Dude, this guy's addicted somehow. He's addicted
he couldn't
somehow.
Stop making YouTube videos, and he thinks like he's gonna let down his audience. Like if he, because he also paid for subscribers. He told me. So he told me that he like bought an account that already had subscribers and then totally deleted all the videos and changed the name. So he has like 100,000 subscribers that are subscribed to Saucy Saturdays.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, that is gross.
Yeah, and people do that on Instagram. Like, people do that a lot on Instagram. You can buy followers. Like,
so,
and what people will do is there's this underground secret system where people will, it's called renting an Instagram profile, I think, is what people call it. Okay. Or something like that. Could be wrong. This is how I've heard it described to me. Someone makes a meme account or something that like they get tons of followers, they spam people. However they get their followers, they get their followers. Let's say it has 40,000 followers. Someone will say, and on Instagram you can change your username, you can delete all the photos. You can basically you can turn the profile into something completely new.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is say, hey, you can have this profile for 2 months. You can change it to be whatever you want.
Right.
And I'll give you the password. But then after 2 months, you got to give it back and give me back the password. And what they'll do is they'll say, oh, my account got hacked everyone follow back. And then they'll put in their bio, like, account hacked at 40K, trying to get back, or whatever. Like, saying, like, I used to have 40,000 subscribers, but now I got hacked. And so now I have to start all over from scratch. Everyone, please follow me. And it's just, like, pathetic.
It's so sad, man.
It's creating the fake audience. I understand, like, trying to reach new people.
Yeah.
But the number doesn't matter if no one's engaged and no one cares. It's just stroking your own ego.
That's exactly what it is. It's fucking sad, dude. This selfie culture of our generation is just, like, embarrassing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of snowflakes in our culture too. A lot of people who can't take adversity and can't do hard work and can't commit to things. And that's because the 1990s there was the big self-esteem movement and they did a great job and they did a little too well. So now we got fucking kids who are in pee-wee leagues where there's no winner. There's no winner at the end of the game. They're handing out 7th place trophies at karate tournaments. And you know what else, Andrew? Every kid's got a freaking nut allergy or like gluten allergy or like some sort of like. There's no cavemen with gluten allergies. Fuck out of here with that. You gotta there wasn't gluten, I guess, because gluten is whatever.
Yeah, but still.
I guess my point is.
Or if they had one, they just dealt with it.
Yeah, they just dealt with it. You just power through. Like, people with gluten allergies, I'm talking directly to you. When I tell you that it's not that big of a deal, and go fuck yourself. All right? I'm saying it. I have celiac disease. Oh, you do? You mean the condition everyone got overnight in 2015? You've got that thing? Oh, I'm sorry.
I think that there's a spectrum, just like there's a spectrum with everything.
Yeah.
And I think people go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, you have a slight aversion to gluten or whatever. Like, you're slightly allergic. Like, it would do you well to, like, not eat it as much. And then people make it their crusade, and they make it their identity, and they make it, like, because they just want to talk about something to get attention.
100%.
And it sucks because, like, I know a girl that I work with that, like, if she accidentally ate a cupcake, and someone at work told her that they were gluten-free, like, somehow in the miscommunication they were like, oh yeah, Emily can't have the cupcakes because she's gluten-free, and someone had interpreted it as like, oh, Emily can have these cupcakes, I got the gluten-free ones. And like, she ate one of the cupcakes and got kind of sick and like couldn't come in the next day. And so it sucks because she feels kind of ashamed of that, because she knows that there's so many people out there that are like, oh, I have celiacs, I can't have gluten, I'm allergic to gluten. But she like actually will become sick and like be, you know, she had, I don't know exactly what her symptoms were. She didn't get into it with me if she like sitting on the toilet or whatever. But, you know, I'm sure that there's like a spectrum, and she happens to be on that higher end or whatever. But I'm sure that there's some people that are on that low end of the spectrum.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That act like they're gonna die if they eat it.
It's like a dude with gradual male pattern baldness turning to a person on leukemia and going, yeah, my hair's falling out. It's a real bummer. True. They're like, every time I shower, there's clumps of hair in my hand.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
That onset balding, bro. I get you.
But seriously, it's everyone just wants to make everything about themselves, says the two guys with the podcast. But for real though, you know what? You know what the difference is though? Is that I own it.
Yeah.
I own it and I harness it and I make it work for me, and other people just let it consume them in a way that's like not productive.
Yeah, I agree. And this morning I was recording the introduction, like, cause I'm gonna basically put out all the episodes I have all in one blast, I think, because apparently when you're new in the iTunes store, cause I'm gonna try to get it on iTunes.
Yeah.
There's a new and noteworthy section that you can get in fairly easily as a new podcast, and there's an 8-week window where you can appear in that section.
Okay.
So if your podcast has like a spike in downloads in 24 hours or whatever,
Yeah.
you have a good chance of popping up in that new and noteworthy section. And then you have the eyeballs of everyone who's looking in the iTunes store.
Got it.
Because you're in this new and noteworthy section.
Got it. Okay.
And so I was reading some blogs and they were saying if you start your podcast with just like one episode, for every listener you're getting one download. Mm-hmm. But if you start your podcast with 10, if everyone that listens downloads all 10 right off the bat, then it's 10 downloads per listener.
That's smart.
So if you're listening to this, please download every episode, even if you're not going to listen to them all.
Yeah.
Just because it'll help me jump up, hopefully. That's the idea, at least.
That's beautiful.
And I've been reading through some blogs and stuff, and some people say that reviews are super helpful in popping in that section. Some people say that reviews don't matter. It's all about the downloads. And I think it's probably a combination of both. It's kind of up in the air. iTunes doesn't release what their algorithm is, of course. But anyways, where was I going with that? But I was recording my introduction episode, and I was kind of trying to like nail down, because tons of people ask me, what's the theme of your podcast? What do you talk about? You know, and it's kind of like, I kind of boil it down to one sentence, which would be, I'm having long form conversations with fascinating people. That's basically it. Like just having a great convo, uninterrupted, long form conversations.
Okay. So you go no edits.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
I have had a couple episodes where I've paused and stuff just because of like other stuff, but I'm kind of just trying to, like, if it's working, it's working, and like we'll just keep going with it.
Fair enough.
But if it happens that I need to edit something or take something out or whatever,
right?
Like, there's been a couple where it's like, oh, I didn't really want to say that, like I'll take it out or whatever.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I want to keep it as transparent as possible, which is kind of interesting because we were talking about how you were saying like, I feel like if I, if I'm Graham Thomas, I can say whatever, and I'm kind of in a position where I'm kind of trying to turn a new leaf where I'm gonna not give a fuck about what people think. Yeah. And I think, kind of growing up in like a Christian household and stuff like that, it was like very like, don't swear on Facebook because people will see that, or like don't, and it's a good idea to kind of mind your manners on social media. Obviously, you don't want to be like posting racial slurs because
hey, you don't know me, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? But no one knows you. No one knows you.
Yeah.
So you might be. But it's funny because I heard a statement that kind of stuck with me, and it was saying like, no one knows that your grandma used to be a hardcore racist because it's in the past. Like there's no record of it. Like there's no record of her saying like ridiculous things. Like my grandparents were probably super racist.
Yeah.
It's
for
just
sure.
They probably were.
It's just the way people were back then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, but now you see people that are just posting ridiculous things on Facebook, and it's like, your kids might see that one day. And there's like a record of that. Yeah. And I'm kind of at a point where I kind of just want to be as transparent as possible. Like, for example, like Bryce, if Bryce is listening to this, sorry, dude, I'm telling you the truth of what I actually think. I'm not trying to make, I'm trying to be honest and transparent.
And Bryce, I'm telling you, don't change a thing about your strategy, your execution.
It's obviously working. You're obviously making a lot of money.
Hey, they don't understand. They don't understand the gift you have, Bryce.
Bryce, you're a snowflake. You're a special little snowflake. But yeah, to kind of tie that back, you're saying having a podcast is powerful and you can leverage it to your own success and your own, I guess.
Yeah, okay, you can leverage anything to your own success. If the schmuck we were talking about with the YouTube channel that sucks but had talent and drive and motivation and foresight, then, anyone can capitalize on things. That's one of the great things about being in a capitalistic society. You can seize opportunities like that. Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that people don't understand that for every action there's an equal and there's an opposite reaction, and you truly in this life get out of things what you put into it. So if you just sit around and you're like this guy we're talking about in your fucking mom's basement doing selfies all day thinking you're going to become a YouTube millionaire, then you're just a delusional person. Like, you have to have a strategy, you have to have something that's compelling, you have to be interesting. and again, I mean, I'm not saying I'm these things. I'm not saying you're these things. I'm just saying that, like, this is just kind of an observation about people in general and entertainment in general, is that if you just kind of like, blah, just fucking spit out shit all the time that's just average, why? Why should anyone listen? There's so much noise. There's so many options. The media is so just huge and vast, and there's so much content out there that you gotta work hard as fuck, and you gotta differentiate yourself in order to get noticed.
Yeah, definitely. There's a million other Bryces out there making cringy videos.
So many. And it just goes back to what you were saying earlier, to your point about how, like, people like that just feel like, I mean, I deserve $1 million now. Like, I'm an artist. People deserve to listen. Or, like, I deserve to be listened to because now I've proclaimed that I'm an artist.
Yeah, and I think with the internet, you see these creators making lots of money, YouTubers making tons of money, but what you don't see is all the other thousands and hundreds of thousands and probably millions of other YouTube channels that either started and fizzled, and when they started it, they thought they were going to be a millionaire, or they are still working and they just kind of suck, and they need to figure out something else. Like you said, they got to be compelling, you got to be interesting, and I think you've got to just bring something kind of, different to the table. Not even saying that I'm doing this right now, because I'm striving to do that with my podcast. I want it to be something different and interesting. And of course, there's tons of other podcasts where people sit down and have a conversation. But
yeah. Well, one thing I think it comes down to as well, just with art in general, the best artists in the world would do it for free.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. That's what I think is going to be such a successful factor in my endeavors with this, is that I don't care if it gets big.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool. I want people to hear what I have to say, but
your main purpose isn't to get big.
It's to express myself. Like, that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Love that.
And it's sort of like you know how, like, in the 70s they launched up that Voyager rocket into space just 'cause? Like, we're going to just send this out there.
Yeah.
And, like, we'll probably never see, like, what comes of it, or, like, if anyone ever sees it again or listens to it, or if it ever matters or affects things. But just 'cause, we got to send it out.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like, I want to share my view of the world to the open airwaves. And, like, if you want to hop on for the ride, fuck yeah, come along. And if it's not for you, hey, that's cool too, you know?
Yeah. I love that. That's kind of how I've been feeling about it too, because the past couple weeks I've just been going at it and just recording, like, hey, I'm free this time, let's record a podcast, blah blah blah. I don't care what we talk about, let's just do it. Let's just get in there and do it.
Yeah.
And I've actually kind of come to that same realization where if it never blows up, if I never, if it's not something that, makes me money, or if no one listens to it, at least I decided to do it and make it and put my opinions and put my point of view out there.
Yeah.
And if people dig that, then sweet. But if, no one wants to listen, then that's cool on me too. But I think that just even putting in the effort is what people appreciate too sometimes.
For sure. Yeah, but it's the people who go into the endeavor, like, thinking like you're like the dude we keep talking about, like,
just shitting on
I gotta get followers. I need validation. Like, that's the mindset that I think a lot of people in our generation kind of have, that need for validation, but through digital social validation, to where you still get the same similar sort of like dopamine drip that you get from like a hug, or like a, hey, good job today, Andrew, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
But instead it's just like lab rats just clicking the mouse, and then
it's like a slot machine kind of.
Yeah, it's all, and it's so insincere. It's so insincere. People just click like.
Yeah. Exactly. I do that. Like, I'll go through my feed and, like, on Instagram, pretty much, I pretty much just go and like everything, because I'm like, people feel good when I give them likes. I'll like it. Takes me 1 second to like it, but it is insincere a lot of times. It's like, fuck that guy. Or like, whatever it is. Or, the picture's lame, but whatever. And it is interesting how so many people are just stuck in this scrolling phase, You get on Facebook and you just scroll.
Yeah.
That wasn't that interesting, but if I scroll, something remotely slightly more interesting might appear.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just sitting here doing nothing. I'm not going to think about what I'm going to do or, accomplish something. I'm just going to hop on Facebook and look at my notifications or see what's going on and watch a dumb video.
Yeah. That's a great point. I think it's a way to kill time, it's a way to be passive, and it's a way ultimately to ensure that you're just utterly average.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, those people don't spend that time doing things that are productive and can build something of their life, and by the time they realize it, it's too fucking late, and you've got an AARP card and a bad prostate, and saya fucking nara, good luck.
It's a great way of putting it. One thing that I was thinking of too is no one wants to be alone with their thoughts.
Yes.
Everyone hates himself. And there's like this kind of weird growing movement on the internet of like, it's cool to be depressed, kind of. It's cool to be sad. It's like a chic fashion kind of sad boys. Like, so weird.
Dude, it's the worst, man. It's been quote unquote cool to be sad since the grunge shit in
Kurt
the
Cobain.
90s, and the goth kids who shot up the Columbine school, and then the dude in Rolling Stone who does the Boston Marathon bombing, and then Rolling Stone puts him on the cover. Like, it's somehow considered this weird the world doesn't get me.
I'm so angsty.
I'm so angsty. I smell like Teen Spirit. Like, I mean, whatever. Not even to bring it back necessarily to like the hard extreme of the Columbine kids or whatever. That's a little dark. But I guess what I'm saying is like, it's easy to complain, and it's easy to throw spitballs, and it's easy to destroy and criticize and belittle. But what's really hard to do is architect and be positive and build up others and embody love all the time.
And stand for something, anything.
Yeah, have opinions. Don't go with the masses like a fucking lemming over a cliff. Like,
it's really easy to hate. Like, I love that you brought that up, because I've noticed that so much, is especially with this hate towards like Donald Trump and stuff. You'd see at these Trump rallies, people that were somewhat competent would go up to these, not Trump rallies, sorry, the Trump protests. And I'm not the biggest fan of Donald Trump, but these people at the rallies wouldn't even know what the fuck they were talking about. They're like, Trump wants to kill gays. And it's like, he's never said that.
Yeah.
He's never even said that.
Yeah.
He's and I get that what he says and what he does are two totally different things, but he's never killed gays. He's never said he wants to kill gays. He's actually come out and said he has nothing against gay marriage, which is pretty revolutionary for a Republican.
Right.
Even though he's not really a Republican, he's been a Democrat his whole life. But like, and Hillary Clinton, years before, had been saying that she believed in traditional marriage and wouldn't support gay marriage, and then all of a sudden when it was cool and accepted and it's what the people wanted to hear, now she's totally accepting of gay marriage.
Right.
And so I think it's just funny how, like you said, it's hard to make something good. It's hard to stand for something. It's hard to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and allow people to criticize. The people that criticize the most on Instagram or whatever, and like, oh, you're a fucking loser, like, they're always people that have their profile blocked. You can't see their posts.
Yeah.
They don't want to let anyone else in, but since you're public, screw you. I'm gonna fuck with you. You've allowed yourself open for vulnerability, so I'm gonna hate on what you do, but I don't do anything. So by default, you can't hate on me because I don't even do anything.
Yeah. Well, there's something uniquely American about building up these celebrities, these famous people, to the point where they're almost like these gods, and then the second they fuck up, everyone breathes this sigh of relief where it's like, oh, thank God they're not perfect. let's get him, and then they just like stone them with, like over social media, and like you see it all the time with like Aaron Hernandez, like the dude is and I mean O.J. Simpson. I guess I'd pick two football players who murdered people, so that's maybe two bad examples, but I mean good in the sense that like these are people who are idolized and are famous and something to aspire to, and then they fuck up and everyone's like, oh, that's like, thank God, let's make jokes about it.
Yeah.
I guess that's a little different because he killed somebody. But.
Well, another thing too is when bad things happen to people. Like for example, when Kim Kardashian got robbed in Paris, and just the spew of people. Oh, you deserve it, you dumb cunt, you fucking idiot. You were posting that you had all this jewelry. You didn't expect that you wouldn't get robbed in Paris. What the fuck are you thinking? You know. And like she was a very serious situation. She could have died. And I'm not the biggest fan of Kim Kardashian either. But at the end of the day, she's human.
Yeah.
And, you know, if someone's in a situation like that, you shouldn't be like, good, that bitch gets what she deserves. She's so rich. She doesn't even need those diamonds.
Wasn't she like bound and like duct taped and shit?
Yeah, I think she was like she thought she was gonna get raped.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, who knows what happened, but. You know, it's just kind of gross. Like, I would never think to go on her page and say that after that would happen.
Well, yeah.
Or, for example, when just a couple days ago, the bombing at the Ariana Grande concert.
Yeah.
I would never dream to go to Ariana Grande's page and be like, good, get what you deserve. Ha ha, those dumb Ariana Grande bitches. They have terrible taste in music. LOL. Like, I would never do that.
Yeah. Makes one of us.
But like the types of people that would.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well,
what makes you want to do that? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. I kind of get the troll culture a little bit.
I do get the shit posting. Like, just posting to rile people and posting to troll.
Yeah.
Because I do understand that of, you know, just posting something totally crazy to get attention. But I think that there are some people that are like, fuck that bitch, ha ha. Like, they're not really trying to get a rise. They like actually hate them.
Yeah.
Because they're successful and they're not.
That's
I think they're
dark.
kind of, you know, like, ha ha, that's what you get.
Dude, hatred towards other people is like drinking poison and then expecting the other person to keel over dead.
Yep. That's like holding a grudge.
It's a complete waste of energy.
Yeah. And one thing that, on like the Joe Rogan podcast, one thing that he always brings up, I was listening to an episode the other day where he was talking to Steve-O, and Steve-O was kind of bent out of shape because some guy said something about him on the podcast. And he was like, dude, that really like hurt me. I was really worked up about it for a couple of days. And he's like, dude, you can't let people rent space in your head. You know, like you can't let what someone else thinks of you affect you.
Yeah, great point.
Because if you're a public figure like that, you know, Steve-O obviously has thick skin, both literally and figuratively.
Right.
You know, but, you know, you can't let the trolls or haters or people online or whatever or anybody rent space in your head. Because like you said, holding hatred against them is just, like you said, drinking poison and expecting them to die.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anyone any good.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
That's, there's no value.
Yes, value. That's a big thing. And that's one big part I feel like of, to go back to Bryce, who we keep continuously shitting on, is there's no value in his thing. You know, he could argue that there's entertainment value there, which that's, you know, okay, you could argue that some of his videos have gone kind of viral because they're so cringy that he's provided some sort of weird, twisted value that he wasn't meaning to give, but
that's terrible.
It was something to laugh at. Like I'm having
not with.
Exactly. That's the point. And so, you've got to figure out how can you provide value. That's my biggest thing with this podcast too. Is I'm constantly trying to figure out, reverse engineer, what type of podcast would I want to listen to? Yeah. What would I want to hear? And not to say that I want to tailor my podcast completely to the audience and just succumb to whatever I feel like the people want to hear. And like we were saying, Hillary Clinton, but I want to create something that I would enjoy.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, man.
But dude, let's talk about your podcast again for a second, because when I did your podcast, we didn't really talk about it that much.
Yeah, Logical Insanity podcast on SoundCloud.
Yes, Logical Insanity. Go listen to it. What actually made you want to start the podcast? And yeah.
I mean, a couple things. One, just a sense of, I guess, that I had something to say, and I guess piggybacking off that is a sense of self-importance in assuming that what I have to say is somehow valid and relevant and good enough to try to push on to the world and others. Even though I don't necessarily push my podcast on people, I just more put it out there and whatnot.
And share it with your friends and stuff.
Yeah. That's one of them, right?
Definitely. I'm with you there.
Another is that I really love podcasts. And sometimes when I really love things, I want to like learn how to do that thing. So I guess that's another part of it too.
That's a good point. I definitely, like I said, I was recording my intro episode this morning where I was trying to figure out and condense my ideas and thoughts and talk about what this podcast is and what it's going to be. And that was one big part of it, was just trying to express that I love podcasts so much, and I've learned in my life has kind of been changed in a lot of ways by listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
That I wanted to make my own too. And actually, you were a big inspiration, dude, because when I was on your podcast, I was like, dude, I got to do this. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
It's great, man. There was a time when I was, summer of 2013, I was working at the Studio Movie Grill, which, for those who don't know, is a movie theater restaurant where you sit down and you can press the button and the server comes up with a little iPad and they take your order and you can get a burger and a beer while you watch a Bond movie. I worked there and I was a server, and my buddy Owen was like, hey man, I know you're working there, I know you don't like it, I have a job lined up for you at a country club as a server. He was working there at the time. He was like, I make a ton of money, this is the best thing ever. I'm like, great, you're sure you can give me a job? He's like, I'm positive. I quit my job. I go there to the country club in like a suit, like a total jackass, and I'm like, I drive up to the front gate with a resume and in my suit, and I'm like, this is great. I'm gonna get a job. This is gonna be the best. and I pull up to the gate, and the security guard is like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I'm here to interview with the manager. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, you can hand your resume to me. And I was like, but I'm supposed to, I know Owen, and I'm supposed to go in here. And he's like, no, you're not. You're supposed to give the resume to me and be on your way. And like, we'll let you know.
Whoa.
And I gave him my resume, and driving away, I just felt so stupid. Like, just the most sinking, stupid feeling. Like, how could I let this happen? Like, how could I not see 2 steps ahead that, like, quitting your job before you have another job lined up is really ill-advised?
Life lessons.
So I go back to the Studio Movie Grill a few days later.
Yeah.
And I asked for my job back. I beg for my job back.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we can get your job back.
It's really warm in here.
But we can get you your job back, but you're not going to be waiting tables. You're going to be the silverware roller guy, the guy who rolls all the silverware. And this place was huge. Like, this place was 9 movie theaters. Each one sat like between 150 and 200 people. You know, there's a lot of silverware. Like, it makes sense that they've got just one guy who just does that. But what doesn't make sense is where I did that. So there's like this closet in between theaters. Like picture like a closet where you'd put a jacket. Like employees would put their clothes and their lunch and shit. Basically they took that and they cleared all of the stuff out and they put like a card table, like a square folding card table and a chair and like boxes of napkins that were stacked to the ceiling almost. And that's where I sat for a whole summer. And I rolled napkins. And that's when I discovered podcasts. And in a way, I've just been forever grateful because that summer was the worst of my life. My parents split up that summer. I was alone in this room, rolling silverware, and I had unlimited access to coffee. That's another like weird aspect of this is that I had never had coffee before. So I'm like in this,
like nervously shaking.
So I'm like jittery as fuck all the time. Like I'm also the silverware guy, so like if I want to go out to my car and like smoke a doobie, no one's gonna like really notice. Yeah. So I'm like a little bit stoned all the time and then like ramped up on coffee and like my parents are divorcing and I'm like in solitary confinement on top of all of that. So like the first few shifts, I go home and my brother's like, how was work? And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this shit. Like I'm going crazy. And he was like, why don't you listen to a podcast? Joe Rogan's podcast was the podcast.
Nice.
And I listened to it and dude, I must have crushed like 300 episodes that summer. Like seriously.
Literally.
That's all I listened to pretty much. But yeah, and dude, the closet. So you know how like similar concept like a refrigerator door. Open the door, light comes on, shut the door, light goes off. It was a similar thing because it was a fucking closet. Like there wasn't like a light switch. It just turned on when you opened it. So I'd be like sitting there like all like sad and everything, and then like someone would bump into the door and it would shut and like the light would go off. And I just have this moment where I'm just like sitting there like rolling silverware for and just like, damn it, you know, like I messed up. I should never have quit. Like this is punishment. But dude, the 2 shift options were either 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 5:30 to 11. That's full time, dude.
Yeah.
That's full time. I did both. I mean, some days I did doubles.
Damn.
And I made $8 an hour.
Damn. Rolling silverware into a napkin. I bet you really... Wait, is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Rolling silverware into the napkins?
Like take a napkin, fold it in half.
I bet you're a pro.
I was so good. And you know, sometimes I would do double napkins because it took up more space in the bin and I could claim that I had done more bins. But the thing... It's so sad. It sounds like some Shawshank Redemption shit. But like the sad thing is I would almost pretty much never get cut early. Like even if I did 8 bins of silverware, usually it was like 8 bins, and like big ass like tubs. You know, like you'd have to like wash all the silver. I washed it too. That's like another important thing about this story is like.
Did you have to wash them by hand or like in the dishwasher?
No. Like in a big industrial dishwasher. Yeah. So sometimes they would have somebody who's there. That was always nice, but like in the mornings and shit, no. Like in the mornings, you were the first one there, and you had to like. Oh god.
Dang. So this was a summer in between. You were in college and you came home for the summer. Is that what it was, or it was in high school?
It was high school going into college.
Okay, gotcha.
Summer.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say I thought that your parents split after you went to college, but it was during that summer.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Crazy
and so
times.
It's just like an insane time.
Fast times.
That's crazy, man. So you just started crushing podcasts, and was that kind of like that was like your sanity?
It was the only way I could have done that job.
Wow. I love that because that's one thing I learned about audiobooks when I was in Vima, that company that I was in, where, you know, there's a lot of pushing like self-help and personal development and stuff like that. And one guy, Jim Rohn, he's actually really awesome. He's passed away. But he was this really awesome, kind of just wise old man. They would just almost tell like fables or like almost like Bible stories like talking about, and the moral of the story is there, just you can't do it. You know, like, you would say, you know, if you're inviting people to a meeting or whatever, don't get hung up on the fact that some people aren't even going to respond. You know? People don't show up to your own birthday and you don't get pissed off, but when you have like an opportunity and you want people to come hear about it, you get all butthurt when no one shows up. It's like, don't take that class. Don't try to figure out why they're not coming. Just know that 40% just won't even show up, won't even respond. Just know that. Don't take that class. Don't worry about it. Just focus on the other 60 that might, or whatever. And so it was interesting. But one thing that he said was, when the hands are busy and the mind is idle, or something like that, listen to audiobooks and develop yourself. Because like if you have a job where you're driving a truck or something, don't listen to music on the radio. Like that's fine every once in a while, but like listen to something, try to learn something, or try to, you know, listen to an audiobook. Like that was his big thing, was audiobooks and listening to his talks and stuff like that. Obviously he's trying to push his own material, but it was good. Yeah. It was actually really good. Jim Rohn, if you're interested, he's really, really smart.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like, that's the thing, is I don't listen to a lot of music. I don't watch a lot of TV. And I don't think I'm missing out on a lot.
No, you're not.
I really don't.
I don't watch any TV. I do indulge in some YouTube.
I do like YouTube. But most of the stuff I watch, I don't watch sketch comedy. I don't watch videos where people are trying to be like silly and with videos with their friends and stuff. The shit I watch is like crazy videos of like body cam footage of people like dying and shit. And then I'll watch videos of like Vine compilations of like laughing babies.
Yeah.
And then
just stuff to make you crack up.
Yeah, and then I'll watch videos of people attacking people. Or not people attacking. Well, I watch those too, but I'm talking about like animals attacking people.
Yeah.
I love chaos. I think that's what it is. I like cringy videos too, of not like cringy gore, but like cringy like awkward social situations. Like someone will propose in a sports arena and they'll say no.
That's great.
That's the kind of shit I watch.
That's good.
But am I equally as wasteful of my time as the person who watches NCIS?
Probably not, because I would argue that you are, especially with the chaos and the watching like animals attacking people and stuff, you're kind of facing reality, because a lot of those situations like body cam footage, that's real.
Yeah. It's
not like someone scripted and you've got a whole bunch of producers like, oh, well, we should change this. Well, let's change the line.
Yeah.
And you've got all these cooks in the kitchen trying to figure it out. That's another thing that I love about podcasts, is it's like one guy's vision or a couple guys' vision and no one else has input.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I love, because like my dad, for example, he watches tons of TV and he watches tons of news. And I cannot stand to watch it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's, well, this, blah, blah, blah. Well, back to you, Steve. Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like nonstop 5 seconds of this, 2 seconds. You can't ever get a nuanced opinion. You can't actually ever get anyone's actual facts. And they're just trying to get basically the visual equivalent of clickbait, and whoever can break the story first and we'll get the facts straight later.
Right.
We have a source that claims this. Who's the source? Was it a fucking homeless guy that maybe claims that he saw it? Well, a source on site saw this and says, and then they all talk in that voice too.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, back to you, Jeff. Like, why are they talking like that? Who talks like that?
Yeah. No, for sure. It's bizarre.
It's all so disingenuous and all so blatantly fake, but when you watch it all the time, it doesn't seem weird.
Well, and then my favorite is let's go to Twitter to see what people have to say.
Oh, God.
It's like, it's one step lazier than
actually opening Twitter.
Well, yeah. Well, the like grandfather of that strategy is the man on the street. Let's back to you, Steve. We're going to go to the street to see what the average people have to say here in the city of Dubuque, Iowa. And then you fucking walk around and interview people who don't know the story until they hear it, and it's just like uneducated opinions on shit.
Yeah.
And one step lazier than actually going out and interviewing those people is just like, let's just read Twitter, I guess.
Yeah. Well, one thing is I can kind of appreciate a little bit because Twitter's kind of a fire hose. And, just trying to navigate Twitter is so hard sometimes. And if you're really deep in the trenches, you can get some value out of Twitter sometimes, But it's like, I can appreciate them curating some tweets like, okay, this guy said this, but like, who is that guy? I appreciate it more when they're telling a story about someone and it's like that person involved in the situation then tweeted this. And it's like, this is his perspective because it's coming from him. Like Shaquille O'Neal, blah, 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 blah. Later, he tweeted this. Like, I can appreciate that because then I don't have to do the hunting and the journalism of looking into it.
Yes.
I can appreciate that, but it is kind of hilarious. And also, so many of these late night shows that are just ridiculous, all they're trying to do is create little bits that'll be viral the next day on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Kimmel and, it's like no one's actually watching it live.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're you're just one of those zombies that like, oh, I got home from work, let's see what's Fallon's on. Just like zoned out, not really just half paying attention. Ha, that's funny. Like not actually laughing, just saying that's funny.
Oh my God. Yeah, the same
if something's genuinely funny, you should laugh. You shouldn't be like, ha, that's a good one.
Yeah. Or do what I usually do when I think something's funny, which is just breathe slightly heavier for a second. I do this.
Yeah. Just a little.
Yeah. That's basically all I do.
That's enough. Yeah, it is, like you said, what's the difference between you watching someone on YouTube and someone watching NCIS? I think the biggest thing that it boils down to is there some kind of secret agenda? I don't think so, but there's definitely kind of an agenda with NCIS. They're trying to get you to watch more episodes, and yeah, you could say it's giving you entertainment value, but NCIS sucks. And if you're watching that show, like,
Yeah. It's just, you gotta, really all it is when you sit down, you watch a show, you read a book, you listen to a podcast, you're just it's a passive mind activity where you're allowing someone to think for you for a little bit.
Exactly.
It gives you a break from having to do the thinking yourself.
And it's different than reading. Because when you're reading, you have to look at the words, process what they mean, and then visualize in your brain what it's meaning and what the visuals would look like. And when you're just passively listening, your brain automatically comprehends and creates a visual image of whatever's happening. Because it's a conversation. So it's just like listening in on... I mean, that's what it is. You're listening in on two people have a conversation.
Yeah, you're letting... With a TV show or whatever, you're letting them think for you for a moment, so you can get a escape. But with that, I would say you got to always be careful with who you let think for you in moments where you want to be passive.
Exactly.
And what you allow in.
Exactly. That's one big thing is whenever the videos I watch on YouTube, typically I'm pretty into like technology, and so I'll follow like The Verge on YouTube. Like they're like a technology blog and stuff.
Is it because they're all virgins?
Maybe. I think the main thing is like their slogan is like where technology and culture collide or something like that. So it's like where they converge or something.
All right.
But it could be because they're all virgins.
Yeah.
I think I like that actually. But just in general, I like watching those videos and like, cell phone reviews. I don't know why. I'm just like into that kind of weird stuff. Like, I'm not even going to buy this stuff. I just like seeing the cool innovations that people can make and like, what can they think of next? Oh, cool. They made it even thinner. Holy shit. Like, whoa, there's this new little quirk, this new little feature. And another thing I love watching is car videos where they'll talk about all the little quirks of each car and like, oh, this is, for example, a terrible car is the latest Maserati Ghibli. It's so bad. But you think because it's a Maserati, it'd be amazing. It'd be like a sexy Italian car. But like everything is just like so unthought out. Like all the button placement in the console is terrible. There's all these like blank buttons where they just took a generic console from another car and like stuck it in there. And like some of the buttons like are dummy buttons. They don't do anything. And like in the car, the road noise is bad. Like you'd think that it would be somewhat quiet in a Maserati. Like it's kind of like, why aren't you just buying a Ford Taurus or something?
Yeah.
But then I'll watch other videos where it's like, you know, this crazy Lamborghini or whatever, and every little detail they've thought of, and it's like the gas cap. No one's ever gonna even look at the gas cap. It's underneath the cover, but it's machined and it's got this cool little tiny emblem on it or whatever. And it's just kind of cool to see like those little, like, wow, they paid so much attention to detail. Someone's job was to make the gas cap, and they made the coolest gas cap they could.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that kind of stuff really interests me too. And I feel like if I'm watching NCIS, it's like, yes, I'm watching someone's creation, but it's like, whose is it and why do I care?
Yeah.
You know, why do I care about this person's dumb show?
Yeah.
Or this group of persons' dumb show. And what they're really just trying to get you to do is just watch long enough to watch the popcorn ad on the next thing or whatever it is, you know.
All it is selling toothpaste.
Exactly.
And don't kid yourselves when they put on the frowny face every time something bad happens on the news, because what you don't see for every crying anchorman is a producer who's stroking it, thinking about all the Colgate they're about to sell at break. They're like, oh, there's a terrorist attack. Oh yeah, terrorist attack. Yeah. How many are dead? Oh yeah, they're children.
The names haven't been revealed. People will keep watching.
Yeah. Details to follow.
Details to come.
Yeah, man. But never forget that, people. If it bleeds, it leads. That's how the news works.
Yep.
And they'll never, ever, in all of your life, never will there be a time when they come on and they tell you that everything's going fine, because that doesn't sell. Doesn't sell. Fear is the biggest motivator of people, and that's how they corral audiences.
It's like Anchorman, like the movie Anchorman. Like, literally, they're like, wait, we can just show people what they want to see rather than what we are obligated to show them? Like,
yeah.
What? We can be disingenuous journalists and show them, you know, the stuff that is going to sell more ads rather than the stuff that's actually good?
Oh, it's 100% the way it is, and I gotta wrap up and go here. But
I understand.
But with that though, are you familiar with hyperreality? The theory of hyperreality?
No.
About the media. So,
no.
And when I say media, I don't just mean the news. In this example in particular, I mainly mean the news. But I'm talking about music, movies, the books you read, everything.
Things you consume.
Exactly. But not apples.
But maybe an Apple computer.
There you go. But hyperreality basically is this feedback loop. It's the idea that the news and the media have an obligation to citizens to inform them of essentially reality, like what is happening. Because you can't be everywhere at once. You can't just know everything. So you rely on other people whose job it is to figure it out and tell you, hey, this is what's going on. So you sit down, you watch the news, you figure out what's going on, and then the next day you go about your day as you would, but with the knowledge of, hey, this is what's going on. I'm aware now of what's going on. That somehow affects my actions, obviously. You're now acting with that in your mind of this is what reality is.
Yeah, if you see, a story of a black guy shooting somebody, you might be inclined when you see a black guy on the street, you might just knee-jerk reaction, think like, oh shit, is that guy going to shoot me?
So,
like, you can't even help it because they've planted that idea in your brain.
Exactly. So then one night you're George Zimmerman and you kill Trayvon Martin because you're scared because you heard about the news story, and then guess what? You fucking are the news story.
Oh shit.
And then it just cycles through. So what's influencing what? Is the tail wagging the dog? Like, is the media influencing the actions of people, or are people influencing the actions of the media? And at what point does that feedback loop end or begin?
Whoa. Huh. That's an interesting concept. And, I think it's a combination of both. I don't think it's a black and white issue.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't
it never
just
is.
say, it's the media's fault.
Yeah.
Well, it's the people's fault. Because if people weren't doing the things, then the media couldn't cover it. But if the media wasn't showing us, then yeah.
You got it.
And that's a fascinating idea. Do you think it's possible that we could ever have a news network that is only designated for positive news? Like, they wouldn't show anything negative? Like, do you think there's a place for that? Do you think people would watch it?
I think that's just as valueless as something that shows me only the bad shit.
Good point.
Honestly, I mean...
Good point. Because it's a filter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's not showing you real reality.
Like, reality is good and it's bad.
But one
and it's
could
indifferent.
argue that it would be to combat all the negative. Like, you watch CNN for a minute and you're feeling shitty and you're feeling like the world is hopeless and nothing good's happening. So you flip it to the positive channel and you get your daily dose of positive.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But that's like, because I've thought about that a little bit. I'm like, would there be a place? Would people actually want to watch it? But I get your point of saying that it's just as valueless as the completely bad one.
Yeah.
But if the bad one exists, maybe the good one should exist too to counterbalance it or to counteract it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the person that makes this positive news channel, but...
No, me neither. Because, yeah, I mean, it's basically like,
idea.
Do you want me to steal your wallet and kick you in the nuts as I tell you everything's terrible? Or do you want me to do the exact same thing as I, like, smile and tell you everything's good? Like, it's all just some song and dance routine. It's shaking the car keys in front of the baby so they look one way while you do something else. Like, never forget that the media is a tactic.
Yeah,
It's a
totally.
tactic for people in power. And, I mean, they do act as the fourth estate, the fourth pillar of democracy, to kind of counterbalance the other, the government and play watchdog. And that's great. I think that's important. That is what the media has always done, and that's the reason we have a free press. It's super important.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I just think that there's so much right now as far as information. It's just impossible in real time to sort through enough of the shit that they're
like the
getting
fire
in.
hose
It's just
thing.
incredible. Yeah.
You can't possibly. And we're getting all the, this isn't my original thought, but basically on the news, we're getting the entire world's bad news. We're getting all 7 billion of us. We're getting all of the bad news. So it's not like when back in the tribal days, bad stuff might happen once every few days.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Billy got eaten by a bear. That once a year something bad happens. But when you're with this fire hose of info, you're just getting everybody's bad news. So it's compiling and you just think the world is shitty.
Yeah. No, pretty much.
Like you said, hyper reality. That's kind of what it is.
It is, man.
It's messed
It
up.
is.
Well, dude, I know you got to roll.
Yeah.
But anything, any moral of the story? Any final thoughts?
I'll leave you with this. I mean, I think that the moral of the story is that nothing matters. And I think that there's two ways to look at the fact that nothing matters. There's the nihilistic approach where you can throw your hands up in the air and say, oh, nothing matters, so, like, what's the point? Or you can basically say, with optimism and excitement, like, nothing matters.
So why not try it? Fuck it. Why not? Nothing matters, so let's do it. Let's go for it.
The end result of everyone's life is certain, and it's dead. You're dead.
Yep.
So
No one wants to face that reality.
No one faces it. But if you, with that in mind, with the inevitability of that, at any moment you could die, why would you do anything other than create the life you want to create?
Boom.
So
Dropping facts.
I'll leave you with that, guys.
And if you are in a dark closet listening to this, rolling napkins, I hope that we were able to provide you with some level of entertainment
absolutely
for the past
absolutely
hour and 20 minutes. Cool, man. Well, thanks, Graham, for being on the podcast, and good luck to your travels in Chicago, and good luck with the new podcast. What's it called again? So
it's going to be called About Earlier.
About Earlier.
Yeah, and the podcast I have now is Logical Insanity Podcast. It's available on SoundCloud.
Nice. And when you move to Chicago, are you going to immediately kind of start production on that?
Yeah, so I've gotten a bunch of raw backlog footage. Our podcast is actually one of those.
Nice. I was too curious about that. I didn't know what you were going to do.
So I need to accumulate some in the can. I need to get a couple more in the can before I go live with it. And I'm working on taking some of the old Logical Insanity podcasts and remastering them. Because the first few episodes I did it, like, the levels are so shit.
They're really quiet.
They're really quiet, and then, like, there'll be a sound effect that, like, makes you want to, like, vomit. It's so loud and, like, ear piercing. So I'm working on that, and
Nice.
and yeah, so
Cool. Well, I will definitely let people know where they can find it whenever it's live.
Cool, man. And thanks again for having me on this Untitled, right? It's Untitled at this point, the podcast?
Yeah, I think I'm just going with the Andrew Deitsch podcast. It's so lame, but like I think it just kind of encompasses like there's no expectations for what this podcast could be. So that for better or for worse, I'm just going with it.
Well, hey, you can't say it's not about you.
That's very true. That's very true.
Cool, man. Well, this is awesome, and I'm honored to be on here, man. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. If you want to listen to some of Graham's other podcasts, you can find him on SoundCloud. Search for the Logical Insanity podcast. I'll definitely have the link in the show notes. If you want to support the podcast, the best way to do that is go to iTunes. Wah, wah. Or the podcast app if you have an iPhone. Find the Andrew Deitsch podcast. You probably already did that if you're listening to this podcast right now. But leave it a 5-star review. Give me some feedback. I would love to know what you like, what you don't like. But most importantly, if you can download all of the episodes. I know that you have limited storage on your phone, but they don't take up that much space. So just download them all. But if you download them all, it really helps me because having more downloads gives me higher rankings. So even if you just download them and don't listen to them and then delete them, I'm pretty sure it still helps me. So just do it anyways. But if you want to follow me on my social media platforms, I've got a bunch of them. The best way to find me is go to my website, andrewdeitsch.com. That's Andrew, DEITSCH.com. And you can find links to all of my social media handles and accounts. All right, that's pretty much it. Episode 10 coming up next with my friend Owen Lutz. He's an extremely successful entrepreneur, digital marketer, motivational speaker, and soon author of his first workbook. Owen shares his story of how he went from a high school dropout, to selling his first company, We also talked about meditation, his favorite books, and much, much more. You don't want to miss it. Keep it tuned. Keep it tuned? It's not the right word. Tuned is like a radio. Keep it locked. There we go. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for listening. You're the best. The fact that my voice is even hitting your eardrums right now is kind of insane. But I'm shooting these podcasts out quick with a quickness. So stay tuned. More to come tomorrow. Bye.